Hello, Willem. Can you hear me? Hey, Willem, can you hear me? I can see that your mic is. Oh, cool. Take your time. We're going to be in about 5 minutes anyway. Coolio. Punj, as you can hear us, I know your mic is an issue. You can definitely post your questions here. You would like to introduce yourself also, please do that on your on the message. Happy to know more about you, and then we can definitely talk about the crypto part of it. Still studying, are you? Yeah, yeah, you can. Let's start because I think people will come in and join, and now we can just continue with it. So we'll be doing a basic conversation about crypto and CBDCs and fiat that's coming around. CBDC in India is already almost waiting to be released. It's already in testing position. Some of them are able to be testing. The few people who've been selected to test already got their apps and everything. The apps are ready.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Willem. Yes, I can hear you. Am I saying it right?
Yes. Hi, Vikram. Hi.
I, I,
Yes. And sorry, this is the first time I'm logging on to this particular platform. So bear with me, please. I'm trying to get connected, also to get my camera working. But
Surely, Willem.
please continue. It was interesting. Indeed, the CBDCs are coming our way.
Absolutely, yeah. And where are you joining from, Willem?
I'm joining from the Netherlands, from Europe.
I got it. Yes, I've been there. I've been to
Ah,
Amsterdam, maybe like a few times. I've stayed at Schiphol once, the airport itself, on the airport hotel.
okay.
So yes, hi everyone. I think we can start now. When people come in, they can definitely join as and when. My name is Vikram. I'm one of the crypto guys from a long, long time. I got into crypto way back in 2009. I guess this was the year of the birth of Bitcoin. 2008 was the time when the white paper was released, and 2009 January 6th was when Bitcoin was the first block of Bitcoin was released by Satoshi Nakamoto. By end of 2009, I kind of like came across, but I had completely not given any attention to it. But because of the way what I was searching online was related to this, it kept on coming back. And in 2010, I took it a little bit more seriously. I was not into economics or on finance. My work was in management. I was working in England at that time. And the reason I got into looking for answer from online for like any financial related answers that I was looking for was because of my assets that was there in the UK that I had built suddenly collapsed in price. Like one of them was the housing, and the house price just collapsed to less than half. And then when I had to pay back the bank, I had already paid like about 4.5 years worth of EMIs. My house would sell for less than what I have to pay back the bank, even though I've paid 4.5 years of my EMIs, and I had paid upfront about 5%, whatever that I had paid, and I had upgraded my house. Still, there was no value for the house, and I was like shocked to know that. And since I come from India, I was like in India, I've never seen that kind of demand and supply collapsing. So when I wanted to look for those answers and why it happens in the UK, it kept on coming back saying that there's an alternative to Bitcoin, and the seven big banks control it too much and things like that. So that got me like interested with Bitcoin then, because every time I was looking for those, they said, okay, Bitcoin is an alternative. And I was like, wow, what is this? And then it said some things like open source, decentralized, peer to peer. Absolutely no idea what those were then. And I started to research on those in depth, and I understood that I had to get into economics a little bit more in depth. Got into economics and understood that yes, Bitcoin here is here as an alternative to the banks. That was my journey in the beginning. Eventually, I got to India. I actually did a 2 year travel from 2011. What happened after Bitcoin was that I wanted to study. I studied a year in economics. I quit hotel industry that I was working for. I was working for Hilton in the UK then. I studied and then I wanted to travel. I traveled for 2 years. I realized that absolutely nobody knew in 15 countries that I traveled. Zero, not even one person could tell me what is Bitcoin and he's heard about it. I was the only one talking about Bitcoin. Then eventually I realized there's nobody that you will find. I may find people online, and I was looking for people online. Of course, I was already on BitcoinTalk.org forum. Uh, well, the meetups are not organized there, but eventually I got into Meetup.com and I saw there was first ever meetup that I found for Bitcoin was in Bangalore, and that's where I am from. And I realized, okay, so I guess it's time to go back home, and I settled back in Bangalore since 2013. We did a lot of meetups. I used to do every week. We used to do, or maybe even twice a week. We used to do meetups, Saturdays and Sundays, meeting at hotels and restaurants. A lot of people who came to meetups had one question to ask. They wanted to know where they could buy Bitcoin. And since it was a little hard to buy Bitcoin for Indian rupees, and when I bought it for Europe in the UK for pounds, and then I had some dollars in PayPal account, and I bought it through that. And I bought it on your BitcoinTalk.org. The forum itself. I bought it on through one of the guys. So when I realized the Indians having difficulty to buy bitcoins here, I immediately understood that as an exchange needs to be set up. And that was the first exchange that we set up in 2013 December. I was the key person. I founded the company called Uno Coin. We started the Bitcoin exchange then. Uh, it's mostly a trading platform now, but yes, that's the idea of getting that exchange up and running then. Then there was no looking back. Meetups have been going on since then till now. It's been more than 10 years that I've been doing these meetups. Recently, as in it's not so recently, about 6 years ago, I started another company called Insta Crypto. Insta Crypto is also a platform where it'll provide cryptocurrencies to people in a way that we do not provide any wallets. I can see that Sachin cannot provide any wallets. We do not provide any wallets because we don't want the custody of the cryptos, because that's what we did in UnoCoin. We are the custodians of the cryptos of people. But in the second platform, I didn't want it to be that. We just did it in a way that is it's like a broker platform where it's just people send rupees and then you get crypto equivalent. In just that, Insta Crypto would want people to know a little bit about cryptocurrency. That's when they should have a wallet, and only then they can produce their wallet address and receive their crypto in their wallet. Since we don't hold it, we send it directly to your wallets. And when our company receives cryptocurrency, we instantly change it to INR and send the INR back to your account. So that's the new platform that I have. I want to have least custody of cryptocurrencies because I realized by 2017 that many exchanges are losing cryptocurrencies because of external hacking or internal hacking, or even personal private interests of the people. They scam sometimes. Even the exchange guys were doing it. So I didn't wanted that to happen ever. So we stopped holding crypto, and that was the platform. It is doing well. It's helping a lot of people. It's helping even in payments and settlements across the world. So, for an example, if somebody from India wanted to send just 1,000 rupees, which is like what, $15 worth of bitcoins to someone in Japan, and if that person from Japan sends a Bitcoin address, all they have to do is put their address in our exchange, pay that 1,000 rupees to us, which is equal to $15, and the Bitcoin goes to that address and the person receives it there. They can, of course, check it on the blockchain because the block explorers are open for public use. So everybody can check that if it's a payment is done or not. So it is used for those two. It's a very small scale, but it's working well. It's eventually going to help people who wants to move around micro payments and small payments around the world, and also buy into crypto and learn about crypto, because since we do not provide crypto wallets to hold, We provide some information so that you can download your own wallet, write down the seed phrase, and secure your own Bitcoin. That's the key to our exchange this time, and this is how it's been going on. And that's me. Well, thank you very much, guys, for listening to that. And I guess there's a lot of people who've joined us. Welcome to our meetup. Happy to continue this conversation and talk about CBDCs and crypto and fiat and all that that's happening in the financial world. Welcome, Willem, and I think you're the one of the first ones. Let's listen to you and get your introduction, and maybe get others also to say what they want to talk about.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Vikram. And I think I'm hoping I'm audible now. And maybe also is my camera, am I visible also to the audience?
Very clearly, nicely done, Willem.
Okay, super. That's great. Interesting, Vikram, to hear your background, your story. And out of curiosity, what is the name of that company again? Or is there maybe a website URL that you could ping in the chat so that I can have a look as well later?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, surely.
it's very cool. And yeah, for everybody. So this is my first meetup that I'm attending actually. So it's a bit that's a bit interesting. But I have been in the blockchain and crypto space already for a bit longer, not as long as Vikram, who was there straight from the get go. But you were there 2008, 2009.
I
I
would say
recall.
more of 2010 beginning, because when I heard about before that, just didn't understand. I was moving on. Anyway, it was really
Okay.
nice to hear that you were also been in the space for a long time.
I have been in the space a little while, but not definitely not as long as you have. But I recall in those days, maybe 2010, 11, 2012. I do recall I used to go out with a friend, and we used to walk our dogs. I'm here in the Netherlands, by the way.
Yes.
I'm calling in from Europe. But I had this friend, and I remember we were walking on the beach. We were walking our dogs and throwing balls and blah, blah, blah. And he was constantly talking to me about this Bitcoin thing, about this. He was saying, Willem, this is something new. This is revolutionary. This is a decentralized platform that allows people to exchange value with each other peer to peer. There's no longer a need for a bank in between or a middleman. But unfortunately back then it fell on deaf ears, so I was
Absolutely.
just completely myself in a different space altogether. I had other things, but if I had that's maybe a good one for next for new experience, to be a bit more open. But for me it started, I think, in 2016, 2017. That is when I started to become a little bit more aware about economics and finances and the current financial system, and how it is all like from a centralized model and a hierarchical kind of rolling up, and that there's actually maybe humanity, or in the new world it's better, and now the technology allows for it. If we can exchange value really directly from person to person, borderless. Indeed, I can send $10 in Bitcoin or Bitcoin cash or whatever. I can send it to you immediately. You will have it in real time over there. It's on the blockchain. It cannot be corrupted, whatever. But that is when I started, 2017, 18. I started to become really enthusiastic. I started to build up my portfolio. I started to invest. I ran then the whole bull run, and I was at some point I was quite comfortable, but because I was still a bit new, I never sold anything. So I went up, and then I came back down, and now I'm awaiting. There's big things coming, and I think I'm now in a good position to really benefit from that as well. But I also want to spread crypto adoption, and I go out to people here and start to, because a lot of people simply do not have any comprehension yet of what's coming, what's happening. What they do see and feel is the inflation. Uh, but I could talk for hours, probably. But maybe
No, it's great.
for introduction terms, yeah, I'm working for a big oil and gas company that you probably all will be familiar with. And I'm into data and analytics. But next to that,
Okay.
I'm very much about also helping the world become a little bit better place. And I
That's a
think
nice
it
thing to
starts
hear.
with empowering people to become their own sovereign bank, almost. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Vellum, you reminded me a lot of things that I experienced myself when you said that your friend was kept on telling you about this Bitcoin, and it was just
Yes.
going above your head. It's the same thing
Yes.
that happened to me in that first 4 years when I didn't meet anybody who knew about Bitcoin, and I was the only one talking in my 2 years of travel. Also, I was just talking, talking, talking about Bitcoin. Some people even turned around and told me, "Please don't sell me anything. We're not interested in buying." I said, "This is not something that I'm trying to sell. It's just an information I'm giving you. This is something happening in this world." And it
Yes.
also happened that yes, when I really liked it when you said Bitcoin Cash, because that's the key. Because now Bitcoin Cash is what holds the torch of Bitcoin, what it used to be, and Bitcoin is
Yes.
meant to be that, and only Bitcoin Cash does that. What really Bitcoin wanted to do. Now Bitcoin
Yes.
has become only an asset, and more of an asset and less of a payments currency, and Bitcoin Cash becomes everything like what I started off with.
Yes.
So for me, Bitcoin Cash is the key right now in cryptocurrencies. But when I speak, I do say Bitcoin sometimes is because of the history of mine, because that's how I learned I wanted Bitcoin to be what is Bitcoin Cash today. And it
Yeah.
was like that until, of course, 2016 when it changed things like that, whatever that
Yeah.
happened, of course.
Yeah.
So the small things, those things and all helped, me to understand that yes, we have to do this, conference, these meetups, and bring awareness to people, and like you said, spread the information and help people, bring all of them on it so that we know we are all here to use this technology and better like be our own free people. We don't want to depend on banks. Being Talking about the banks, I'd like to give a small, story of what I should talk about. So, in my research, I came across being seven big banks in the UK taking too much control and having too much power, and that's why we have an alternative, which is Bitcoin. But then, when I was talking about this to others, nobody could understand and comprehend what I'm talking about. The seven big banks. So recently, it just happened that in the UK, there is a gentleman named Nigel Farage. He's a big politician and a minister in the UK, and his business profits that he had from his business, he wanted to spend his money the way he wanted to. And as soon as his bank came to know that he was going to spend his money here, they didn't like it. They sent him a letter saying that take your money out, we're going to shut your account in a month's time. And he's a big guy. Nigel Farage is a not small guy. I think if you want to just look it up, for others, I'm sorry if I've spelt it a little bit wrong in terms of Farage, but that's the name. So this man, when you look him up, this happened just a week ago. Uh, he went search. He went to find out who this bank big people are. Nobody wanted to respond to him, and then he realized, okay, this is going to be shut. Okay, fine, it got shut. Then he tried the remaining six big banks to give him an account. Nobody gave him an account. They refused to give him an account. So it's like it's all coming true. And you won't believe my own brother. I was talking to him about it, and then he wouldn't believe me what I was saying. And now that this happened, and I told him it's a big man, and he didn't know who this big man was, and I told him the name Nigel Farage. He's like, he couldn't believe his eyes. It's like, what? Nigel Farage, even my CTO, he couldn't believe Nigel Farage can go through this in the UK. If his account can be shut, anybody's account can be easily shut.
Yeah.
And this seven big banks, they built themselves a nice little area. They call that Canary Wharf in London, and one side of it is completely water, and the other side of it is land, which is nicely covered, and no real people can just walk into your the area, which is Canary Wharf, and only those two entrances that you have. When you go in, they do kind of checks that nobody else does. Like they check for your car to see if there is any, bomb making residues on your car or things. So I was trying to understand why they're so afraid. And this was way before 2008. I had been there, and then it all fell back in place. Like after I came to know about all of this, then I realized, okay, so these guys are doing such a big scam that they're so afraid they have to do all of this, and that's where we are. This is UK for you, and this is where the control is. The control is with the banks, it's not by the politicians. It's not with the royal family. It's the banks who control the UK, and obviously, is the world the controlled by the banks. Then that's one of the reasons why we really need an alternative. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that this really happened, and somebody like Nigel Farage can get thing. And you won't believe what else is happening. So Nigel Farage said his interview. He gave his interview where he clearly mentioned the seven big banks have been controlling it too much. But when all other media interviewed him, they conveniently left all his interview. They just used his first few lines that he says that he stopped his bank, and of course he's not going to get more. And they're not even airing the whole interview or the whole 5 minutes of his talk that he gave, that the seven big banks are controlling it. So you can see how the media is also controlled by them. Even though now he's a big person, they have to introduce this information or the news to the people. They still cut the important bits of it and don't tell you the important bits and what's really happening behind the closed doors of these banks. Well, that's where we are, and I wonder why CBDCs are not in the UK and US as easily. Is probably because also because of these things. Is because there are too many control from the banks, and as soon as CBDC comes in, only one bank or one centralized institution, like maybe the Bank of England, will take control of the whole accounts, and the banks become irrelevant. So maybe because of that, the CBDC is also not coming in. I'm glad that India is bringing in the CBDC. So anyway, let's introduce that to the public too, guys. When I'm talking about CBDC, it's called the central bank digital currency. So it's an alternative to the existing fiat system. Like in India, we have Indian rupees, and India is releasing, and I've already seen and tested a CBDC in India. It's available in many apps. The apps have been launched by Indian government, and the way the CBDC is held in Indian government related apps is like we have 500 rupee notes, 200, 100, 50 in 2010, and a few coins also. So all of those are available on your app. And you may have, say, 2000 rupees in that three 500s and two 200s and 100, and you will have a number, a unique number to these notes. And on your app, you can see these currency notes. And when you send your CBDC to another person's CBDC, another person through CBDC, of course, if you're sending him 500, you can just click on that one 500 rupee note, and that goes to that other person. And you can cross check the person who receives your 500 will have the same number that you sent, so it matches. So the number of coin notes have been released on CBDC will all be there on that app, and the central bank which is releasing this, it's the Federal Reserve, which is the RBI of India, will be the one who will take control of all of this, and they have the numbers and everything. And when there is an issue, like say I have to send only 200 rupees, but I don't have a 200 rupee note in my wall in my CBDC app. I only have a 500 rupee note. When I send that 500, only then it goes to a clearinghouse, one of the banks, or to the RBI, and then they will issue two 200s and one 100 note for that exchange of that 500, and then one of the 200s will go to the guy who's supposed to receive 200, and the remaining 300 comes back to me, and then you will see they will have different numbers. So you're not sending exactly what you have, that has been changed by the bank. Sounds like kind of like a mixer in a crypto space. Funny thing, but anyway. So only then the banks come in between. If you realize what happened here with CBDC is now the banks are irrelevant in between. A person who's holding an app and a CBDC currency of Indian rupee, he is now directly contacting the other app, and he's sending and receiving money without the bank being in the center. That's the beauty of CBDC. And I like that actually in a way, because that helps people understand crypto a little better. Because once you have that, then you don't really it makes it easy for you to believe that yes, crypto also can do that same thing, and then works that way. So this is one of the points. The second point in India is a very good point that we have, that not everybody in India is able to get bank accounts. Financial inclusion has been very, very hard to get into deep into the villages and things like that. But what has penetrated in India is internet and the phones. So since they are the better penetration, with CBDC, we can get people to start doing transactions online. And otherwise, what was happening is these people who were outside the financial inclusion were only able to move money when they meet in person. If they don't meet people in person, they cannot pay, they cannot do commerce with them. Within India, also, it was very difficult for them. So now with CBDC, they can now go ahead and do business with anyone in India instantly for free and easy. So that's the beauty of CBDC, and I think that's one of the key things that Indian government is thinking on. That when we introduce CBDC, we don't have to put pressure on the banks to bring in ATMs, to bring in branches in those remote areas where people are not able to, the banks are not able to set up branches there because it's a cost, right? There's a lot of cost to build brick and mortar shops and brick and mortar your ATM machines. So all of that cost is going to drop down drastically, and you have CBDCs and people have their phones and the internet already been there. They can start, transacting and build commerce. So that's the beauty of CBDC. And like I said, the final, the bottom incentive is that it'll help people understand crypto a little better. So that's the one of the beauties, because in CBDC is still controlled by India. But also, why I don't want that control? It's not always about the control. It's about the reach and possibilities. So if an Indian now wants to send and receive funds across globally, because we are already a global person, we are on the internet. There are no borders on the internet. Why should we have the borders with our currency too? I'm not talking about big values to do money laundering. I do not recommend that, of course not. But when you do a small value transactions, when we know our banks do not hassle us up to 50,000 rupees when we deposit in our bank, they don't hassle us for any PAN cards and things like that. But only when we cross 50,000 in US dollars, I would be saying equivalent to some 700, $800. Anything more than that is when they want to ask for, documentation. So below $600-700, there is no real documentation needed. So when you're doing transactions abroad with just $10-20 equivalent, it should be easy for you to do it. What makes it easy for you to do it is only cryptocurrency. Even CBDCs are not able to do that because CBDCs will work only within the country. And actually, CBDC may help in terms of exchanging online a little bit easier, because if the Japanese government also has CBDC and Indian government also has CBDC, maybe the exchange of foreign exchange for Indian rupee to Japanese yen, may be a little easier when CBDCs are there, but it is not as easy as how crypto can do it. So for small values and small things, when people build small codes, probably a couple of lines of music, how do you want to distribute that to the whole world? With for micropayments, it has to be cryptocurrencies, right? So I'm very glad that CBDCs are coming in place, and then we're going to be moving on to cryptocurrencies far more easier once we get used to the CBDC part of it. So that was one of the ways that I think we can explain to people what CBDC may bring in terms of advantages. But yes, that's just me. Like always, I always talk about the points. But yes, I'd like to get more people to get yourself introduced, and then we can, continue this meetup. Well, I have Sachin who's there with the video. Thank you, Sachin, for your video also being present. Would you like to be the
Yeah,
next person to
yes,
introduce
yes.
yourself?
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Vikram sir. Actually, I am just listening to you and William sir because it was getting very too much and technically terms and all these things. I'm not active in crypto as much like you and Vikram, William sir are active, but still I'm trying to get in a knowledge of crypto. So I'm just listening to you and William sir to get more and more knowledge about that. Apart from that, I think yes, crypto was a very good side and very good to invest in and very good to build our own things in this thing. And one thing you told that right now that CBDC between the country or in the country, yes, it was very big terms to work on it. And if the country provides access to the transaction of the amount a bit in between the countries, then it will be very good because nowadays as I am also a BTech graduate, so I think it was a very useful for transaction of money in between the countries because nowadays are finding more people working as a freelancer. So
Absolutely. There's a
so
lot of
it
people
was
interested in that. Yes.
very good and very beneficial for them to transact in a crypto because as we use the PayPal and other things that they will charge a lot and they will apply the other charges for the different transactions. So it will be very good if we go with crypto as a payment method and current situation. But yeah, it's still India is working on it and other countries also completed our work in this field. But yeah, India is still doing work on it and trying our best to do. And our PM Narendra Modi was also doing best in this field also. Yeah, and in India, some cases, some points are always to need to work because the Indian government applied 28 or 28 to 30% tax on a crypto. So it will be very difficult for a normal people to work on it. but still trying and still struggling to get into it.
No,
Apart from
that's
that,
good.
one point I like to catch up from your conversation with Williams, that you told that the bank accounts of an Indian system and the opening of a bank account. So I like to interrupt in that because in current situation, bank opening accounts was going beyond the situation, and people working on it for developing and for opening our balances. But the problem was that as we are going technically also, so that there will be a problem of a cyber attacks and cyber frauds also. So people think that if we go with a UPI payment or online payment or open our account, then it will be attacked by someone, or my money will be get trapped or something else. So that is the problem of the condition, and it will be right that people are doing this type of things more and more as we going for technology side. So yeah, this will be what this is also working, but yeah, this if cyber attacks and the cyber things are getting in control, then it will be good to open account as much as possible. So yeah, India is working. Let's see when we'll get the results in
No, I
2050.
understand what you're saying. It's a very clear thought that yes, cyber attacks can happen anywhere. You could be having money in your bank account, but still somebody who's smart enough will call you and get your details out, make you make a payment, and you will be willing to send the money. There are so many cases in India. People have willingly sent their money because somebody scammed them nicely in a way that they through words, right? In that way, if you see, anyone can get scammed. And with technology, what happens, of course, it makes it a little easier for people to transact. And with that, there will be a little, pockets for getting scammed too. But it's a learning process. In UPI is a great tool. But if you see, UPI works only if you have a bank account in the background. If you do not have a bank account, UPI doesn't work. But with CBDCs, eventually you don't need a bank account. With CBDC, directly you can hold it straight on your phone and send and receive directly from your phone. That's an advantage that is there. There is another point that you mentioned. You mentioned that yes, we are using PayPal and those kind of things in between right now, right? And it is not just about the cost that they charge you a little lot to send and receive. They also have a lot of control. They can say tomorrow that they can stop your transaction. That is something which is not possible with cryptocurrencies, something like Bitcoin Cash. In Bitcoin Cash, nobody can stop your transaction. In any other format of payments and settlements around the world, there is a third party who's sitting there allowing you to do this. And he can then, or that middle person can say, oh, no, we don't like this person's transactions. Or the person who's receiving it from you, they don't like them. So between both of you, if one of them is not in the good books with them, they can stop these transactions. With Bitcoin Cash, that's the beauty of it, that nobody had to be in between, and nobody needs to be in between and stop or scam these transactions. This is like the better advantages of crypto that's out there.
Okay, I can understand that, and I agree with that. I like to ask you one thing regarding a crypto is that we were if we use a crypto as a payment method, then suppose a one situation that if a person A pays some amount of like 5,000 bitcoins to person B,
Yeah.
and if at 2019. Okay, and after that, the cryptos values are very fluctuating,
Yes.
highly fluctuating. That's one time it will be go beyond the millions, and one time it will comes to the down near to zero by. So when a person, if assigns a 5,000 to a person B at a valuation of something around 5,000, and at the same time and after some time, if the value comes down, then what will be the current value of the person B money?
So it all depends on your crypto that you're holding. If the crypto price has dropped, you will have less in your pocket. That is for sure. But then again, like you said, anytime it will go drop to zero, anytime it will go up. It is not like that. Really, it is not like that. It has a very nice set pattern. The pattern is every 4 years the crypto bull run happens, the price goes up. The next 4 years is actually the correction period. And when is the bull run year? The bull run year has always been the year after the halving. So the halving year is a 2012, 2016, 2020. Those are the 3 years when halving of Bitcoin happened. What is a halving? Halving is a supply of Bitcoins reducing to half of what it was giving previously. So when the halving happens, the supply suddenly drops to half of what it was giving out. When it is giving out less, the price has to go up because the miners are working on the same scale and they cannot now run on loss, right? So what they would do is they control the bitcoins in a way that they will not sell it for cheaper. They will wait for a good price to come in, and eventually all that collects together. And the year after the halving year, because the 2012 was a halving year, 2013 was a bull run year, 2016 was a halving year, 2017 was a bull run year, 2020 was a halving year, 2021 was a bull run year. It has been there in the history. We know it now. So every 4 years, when it hits a good price, it doesn't actually come back to zero like you think. It does come back to the previous high. So when 2013 it touched $1,200 and 2017 it went to $20,000, it
Yes,
came
yes.
down till $2,000. It didn't come to zero. People feel it is zero because they
Oh,
think that 20,000 came back to 2,000. That's a lot of fall. But because it fell so much, they feel that way. But actually, it is still not fallen to zero. It is still much ahead of what it was. In 2013, was $1,200 was the hype or the height of what it touched. It still didn't touch that. So same thing when it touched 20,000. Now it touched 65,000 US dollar in 21, but it dropped. It dropped to what? $18,000. It didn't go to zero. It didn't go to even 1,000.
yes, sir. I
No,
apologize
I
for my
understand. That's the
statement.
way of saying it. We do that in a lot of times. But also, there was another point that you mentioned. You mentioned that yes, you want to invest in crypto, and that's what the idea is for you also. A lot of Indian people think about that. But what is an investment currency? An investment currency means it's an asset.
Uh,
An asset becomes an asset only if it is really useful to the people. And once a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin Cash becomes popular between people and they find it useful, every minute they can send and receive instantly for free, as free as possible. Like it's the cheapest cryptocurrency right now. It sends and receives online on chain for only like 3 to 4 paise. And 3 4 paise is nothing for us. So we can even send 1 rupee on Bitcoin Cash. The fees is so low that is 3 4 paise, so we can send 1 rupee. When we can do these things, when we understand that Bitcoin Cash is doing such a great job, we will automatically start holding more in Bitcoin Cash and less in other currencies. So what became the asset? It's the Bitcoin Cash becomes the asset. So an asset nowadays cannot be just an asset. We have asset should be a multi-purpose use, and it has to be a good payments currency too. So that's where crypto comes into play, because before, what was the assets? Some people used to store wealth in gold, paintings, arts. But can that be used to make payments? Absolutely not, because those assets are silly assets. They are just used for storing black money right now. I would say that's what has been happening. There are illegal people who are doing all of these, and we don't want to be getting into those. We want to hold on to those which is like really useful for us. Gold is really useful for us because we use it as jewelry also. If you're just holding it as an asset, some people may be holding blocks of it, maybe outside the purview of the governments and things. That when it is outside the government's view, that means you're trying to store your black money, right? That's what not what we're talking about. We want to talk
yes,
about the
yes.
real asset that becomes a payments currency too. That's invariably it is Bitcoin Cash.
Yes, I totally agree with your statement of storing money as a gold and an ornament. And I think you are also from an Indian or an Indian culture. That is why you raises this point, because this is majorly happen in India only, where the where the ladies of the family are storing our money as a gold or as a silver as an straight investment to save some black money or something regarding to that. And second one way, I apologize for my statement of getting the value of the crypto was a zero. But I like to mention that it will fall from 21 to 18, or it will fall to 15, but not it will be zero. Yes, I think I made a wrong statement against that.
No, no, don't worry
And
about that. What you meant is true in some formats. What I mean by that is Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are decentralized. So they are run by the people and by the community, not by a central authority. Most of the 99% of the cryptocurrencies that are out there called as cryptocurrencies are really silly. They're all centralized currencies. They're launched by an individual who controls the supply, who controls the controls everything about that currency. And those currencies have fallen to zero because it's a centralized coin. The coin is being minted and distributed and airdropped by an individual,
okay.
and they do that. And that's the little confusion that's been going on with a lot of people. They don't understand cryptocurrencies at a level where Bitcoin is supposed to be. Like what I mean by that is Bitcoin Cash should have been. Bitcoin Cash is completely decentralized, means there is no central authority sitting there and minting more of Bitcoin Cash. There is no central authority sitting there and controlling people's movement of Bitcoin Cash. Those things should never happen. That's what decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash gives you the possibility. And that is why that doesn't go to zero. But on a centralized currency, which is 99.9% of these cryptocurrencies out there are all centralized. They're controlled and minted and distributed by some individuals, which is very hard to find out, because those are the small information I'm here to give. Because if you don't tell about these things, people don't understand it. Today, I would say Bitcoin Cash is on the top. Litecoin, Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, a few other are the only few currencies like Dash and things like that are the only few currencies that are really decentralized, really outside the control of any one party or one authority or a group. The rest, everything is very well controlled, and those do go to zero. And don't worry about it. What your statement is true in some ways, that these silly coins that people just launch and use for pump and dump and make fortunes for themselves, they do it at the till the stage that they want to make money. Once they make money, they just leave no development on it, and then that goes to zero. That's
Yes,
happening
yeah,
in the
it
past.
was a very good example of this thing. It was a Dogecoin, which was maintained and controlled by the Elon Musk. With Elon Musk tried to maintain the value of the Dogecoin as per our need and as per the requirements of the news. So they were very fluctuate in the market, and lots of people get earn from them and can even loss of money in a Dogecoin also. But yeah, it was very nice that the other coins are centralized coins, and the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin was not controlled by someone else or anyone else.
No, it's
So it
true.
was, yes.
I would like to bring you notice that Dogecoin is also a decentralized currency. The only issue with Dogecoin is there are no constant development that's going on. Nobody is developing Dogecoin, so it is at a stagnant stage of development. Its valuation and its fluctuation of value can go up and down, and that is because Elon Musk took that Dogecoin as his adopted currency in a way that he says that it is, and because Elon Musk is one of the big guys, and what he says makes a little change in the economy very easily. So he could
Yeah, yeah.
fluctuate, he could manipulate the pricing of Dogecoin a little bit. I wouldn't say everything was in his control. Maybe just one, of course, jump was because of him. But otherwise, Dogecoin is also a decentralized currency. It is not managed by one person or group. It has already been set and decentralized, done from a long time. I think it was one of those early ones, 2014 or something. It was launched, and the issue because of the development is not there. Because of that, every time when I send and receive Dogecoin, I have to use one Doge as fee, because it was made as a joke at the time when somebody who started it, the founder who started it, he's not actively working on it. No group is really working on it. There are some people work on some coins, which is decentralized coins. Uh, More people who work on this real decentralized coin is Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash has got the most sound-minded in terms of economics and finance related sound people are working on Bitcoin Cash. That's why we love Bitcoin Cash, is because these people who are working on it are building it to make it the real future, because in future we want something that works easily, works for free, because that's what UPI is, right? That's why it's popular. It goes instantly and it goes for free. These are the two key important things for any kind of commerce to grow. What is the before thing that helped commerce to grow was emails, because it's instantly messaging. Now you want instant communication with money, and that's what Bitcoin Cash brings in. Even with
Yes.
other coins, there is still a time lag. Like in Litecoin, also there is a lag of 2.5 minutes. In Bitcoin, there's a lag of 10 minutes, plus or minus 10 minutes, because that's the block time. In Bitcoin Cash, even though there is a block time of 10 minutes, it has something called zero confirmation system, which is set by Bitcoin, continued on Bitcoin Cash. That works beautifully, which helps us instantly send and receive money across. That's one of the key reasons why Bitcoin Cash is the sound cryptocurrency of the world.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. The free service and the UPI was which was giving the free service to the users, and it will just like that. First give the free service, and then it will be habitual to them, and they will be used again and again. It was same like that the Geo launch in India, if you're aware about that. So same pattern will be going in that system, and after that they applies the high charges and all to the services,
See, it is not
and
high. It's high for what it was from zero, but it is still lower to competition.
yes, yes, yes.
So
In
that's what
India, it was an
UPI will
internet
also
first.
bring in. It'll bring in 25 paise fee, but it is lower to the competition. So in 25 paise, if I'm spending for 10 rupees, I don't mind it. But if I'm spending 1,000 rupees for 25 paise, I don't even care, right? 25 paise is nothing for when I'm spending 1,000 rupees and above. So
Yeah,
even if they
I
bring in
agree
a
with
fee,
that,
the fee
but
will be very small.
I agree with that, that the charges are not high much, but as compared to the zero, it will be high
It
for
will be
the
a little high. But if you see we're still on zero, why do we even worry?
So the same the
Anyway.
UPI was doing right now, and the UPI now the UPI will be launched in other European countries and Russia also.
Yes, yes.
So it will
So
be going to.
the thing is, when it's launched in other European countries, just because we have UPI and they have UPI, definitely, Mans, just give us 1 minute. And because they have UPI and we have UPI, we cannot directly contact them or communicate with them with UPI. Their UPI works within their country, and our UPI works within our country. Because what is a UPI? UPI is a unified payments interface between the banks in India, and the UPI which is working in France is between their banks in France. So between their banks within their country, they can communicate with UPI. They will be sending and receiving instantly. We will be sending and receiving instantly within our banks. Uh, but we cannot send to a French person, and French person cannot send it to India. That is the barricade that is there with UPI.
Okay, so this will be not complicated in a crypto. Okay, okay, I
Yeah,
got
in crypto, you can
got
directly
it,
send
got
from
it.
here to there and there to here. That's the beauty. Yeah. Anyway, it was nice talking to you, Sachin. We will get back to you. I think Mans wants to
Okay, okay. Thank
get
you
his
so
jump
much.
in.
Thank you so much for sharing the knowledge and regarding the crypto. I like, and it was a thanks to give me
It's a
the
pleasure. It's always a
information about
pleasure.
this. Thank you so much.
Manas, do you have a video that you want to switch on to and you want to come in? Great stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good
Very good
afternoon.
afternoon. I'm sorry I joined a little late, so I'm not well
No
aware with
problem.
what the conversations went on ahead. I would just like to introduce myself first before I ask my question.
Sure.
My name is Manas Jati, sir. I'm in my fourth year currently. I'm doing my BTech in Computer Science Engineering from VIT Vellore. And I have been a part of the crypto industry since the past 1.5 years. I am a part of a founding team of a Web3 startup itself,
Nice one.
and we are working in the marketing like ICO, IDO, CEX listing space. And also, we have developed a very comprehensive crypto masterclass, and we have a community of 1,500 plus crypto enthusiasts and traders itself. So that is my small introduction. So just one question I wanted to ask.
Yes.
When I joined discussions regarding Bitcoin Cash were going on,
Yeah.
so I would just like to ask you one thing. Like I've been following a little bit of news lately. So I came upon this news that Binance has integrated Bitcoin Lightning Network on its
Yes.
platform recently.
Yes.
And as we all know that the second layer solution of Bitcoin Lightning Network, it also facilitates the transaction speed of Bitcoin. It increases that and it makes things a little bit more easier. So according to you, sir, if you would compare these two and throw a more insight, like how Bitcoin Cash does it even turn out to be better than the Bitcoin Lightning network, and just a little bit technical insight if
Okay,
possible.
that's good. That's a very nice point you brought there. So, what is Lightning bringing you is faster payments. What is faster than instant?
Nothing is faster than instant, I guess.
That's it. So Bitcoin Cash didn't do
Yeah.
that. So Lightning is not doing anything better than that. And what is Lightning doing bad is they are controlling your coins, which I don't like. What do you mean by that? If I have banks which are helping me move money, and if the banks do it instantly, I can go to banks, right? So why do I don't go to banks? Why are we going against the bank? It's because we don't want third party to control our funds. If Binance is doing Lightning, Binance is going to control your funds and then allow you to use the Lightning. Then you're allowing your funds to be sparked with third party who's allowing you to use Lightning. So the third party is controlling your funds. Have you ever used Lightning? Please, if I may ask you the question, have you ever used Lightning?
No, sir, not
No, I
myself
know that it
personally.
is no, because 99% of the people who talk about Lightning, they have never used Lightning. Lightning is the most tedious and stupid thing that is ever to be used. I have used Lightning in many ways and many formats and many wallets. Eclair Blue, you call it, I've tried it, I've tested it. They are not useful. They're not use. They're biggest useless system. But it is only theoretically being told and pushed on to the media and to the people like you. You have heard about it. That's why you believe in it, but you've not used it. When you use it, you will understand Lightning is very hard to use and it is not user friendly. When you use Bitcoin Cash, it is superb. It is user friendly. It is instant on on a base layer, on a layer one, which is on chain. And on chain, we do it is because we don't want third party to come in and intervene into our transactions. On Lightning, you cannot do certain amounts. On Lightning, you cannot do it without parking your funds there. What is the point of that? That's not really helping. So why are these people bringing on Lightning? It's because Bitcoin takes a lot of fee to move around. Because it takes more
Mm.
fee to move around, they say on Lightning it takes less fee. But less fee and being instant on Lightning already is available on Bitcoin Cash. Mind you, this is available on Bitcoin too. Why is now Bitcoin not able to do this? Only why Bitcoin Cash is doing it? Because after the fork, Bitcoin Cash continued to hold the same protocol as what was started by Satoshi. In Bitcoin,
Yeah.
what they did was they changed something called FIFO to RBF. So what is FIFO? FIFO is first in, first out. On your mempool, when you do a transaction, it is timestamped. So if you do your transaction first, your transaction is always ahead of my transaction if I do it after you in timestamping. But in RBF, what happens is RBF means replaced by fee. So that means if you do a transaction first, I did a transaction after you, because I paid a higher fee, I can jump the queue and go ahead of you. When they introduced that in later in Bitcoin, that was not going to help Bitcoin. That was not going to help the real ethos of Bitcoin. What Satoshi Nakamoto built is why Bitcoin Cash came out. And Bitcoin Cash didn't come out for the reason of just to be out there. It's because the half the developers of Bitcoin now, it's an open source system. An open source system brings in developers from all over the world. Now, you cannot
That's true.
make those people all over the world sound and look stupid. Would you? No. But the
Mm.
developers sitting in New York, who are also the founders of Blockstream, they have an interest of building a second layer to control Bitcoin. If they have an interest of second layer of building Blockstream and controlling Bitcoin through Lightning, some developers completely didn't wanted that, because why do we have Bitcoin today? Is because we want a system which is outside the control of any banks or any third party or any governments, because that's what the idea is. On my Facebook, I've been having it since ages. We are here to separate the state and the money with Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash that is today. So when we're trying to separate money and control and government, we cannot bring back Lightning kind of a system and give control back to them. So on a Lightning system, if you ever use, you cannot freely send money. It takes a lot of time to connect to channels. It is very stupid in terms of user experience. Please try it and then you speak about that to others too. Because you're a sound person, you understand what I'm saying. Only when you
Yes,
use
sir.
it, because you said no is automatically the answer that you have not used it and you're not known. But when you use Lightning, you will realize that cannot be what we want. What we want is instant. What we want is cheaper, instant, and free. What is free? Free to be outside the control of anybody, right? So that's what why
Definitely.
Bitcoin was built, and that's been continued on Bitcoin Cash. And of course there are few more coins that do that, like Lightning and your sorry Litecoin and things, but not Lightning. Lightning is again taking control of your coins. Second layers I will never recommend, because none of the second layers have come out very useful. Uh, Second layers can be useful, but they've not come out to be useful. And moreover, they're controlling our coins. Why do we have to control our coins? Even in my exchange, InstaCrypto is why I've built that. I built it in 2017. It doesn't have any control of anybody. You want Bitcoin Cash from me, from InstaCrypto, you send your INR and you choose how much you want, and you send that equivalent in INR. Before you do all of this, you should have provided us your receiving address and wallet address, and we promote you to download your own decentralized wallets, non-custodial wallets that gives you the seed phrase. Those wallets, any wallet that you download which gives you a 12-word seed phrase, means that that 12 words is in control of the coins, not anybody else. So the 12 words,
Right.
because you write down and you keep, you're in control of the full funds. So we want you to use that and then provide us that address of that wallet, and we will send it to you. Of course, if you're a small trader, you may not want to give your wallet address. You may give your exchange address, and as soon as you receive in that exchange, you want to sell it for better profit. Maybe they're doing that. So the address has to be provided by you. It can be your own wallet address, decentralized, or it can be an exchange, or it could be a third party where you want to send funds to. So in all of these things, if you see, it has to be done without anybody's control. And that's what the beauty of Bitcoin Cash is today. And Lightnings don't do that.
Understood, sir. Understood. Thank you so much for the answer. It's a great answer. Definitely cleared a lot of things. And yeah, sir. Although I would definitely try Lightning out now, as you have said, and I would love to go through that process and see how it turns out to be.
Yeah, and Lightning is not instant like the way they say. That's a joke they
Yes,
make
sir.
out of you. And just because you're new to cryptocurrency, they're making a fool out of people and making a fool out of a joke out of people. But what is Lightning? If you want to start using Lightning today, say I was wanting to send Willem just like $10. To send that $10, now I have to move my holding of my cryptos to a Lightning, which takes X amount of time and a lot of fee. If I'm sending Bitcoin to Lightning, I'll be paying higher fee, and I would
Mm-hmm.
be waiting X amount of time because they wait up to six confirmations. How stupid can you get? Six confirmations, which can take up to 1.5 hours. You know that, right? Every 10 minutes is a block. Six confirmations means six block movements. It can be plus or minus 50 minutes to 1.5 hours. You wait that long, pay a higher fee. Then I send $10 to Willem on his Lightning, and if I keep lot more coins already, that means I can send in one time and then make keep lots, right? That means I'm losing more coins in somebody else's custody. And if I don't want to lose more in somebody else's custody, I will send exactly $10 worth to the Lightning. I've waited on and a half hours, paid a lot of fee. Now, again, I use the Lightning to send maybe a very fraction of the fee, which is irrelevant. But before to get onto Lightning, did I not spend a lot of money? We are spending that. That is something is a joke. Well, of course, you will know that once you try it yourself. I'll leave it to that.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Cool,
much.
cool. But yes, do come back if you have more questions. Of course, I will be interested to answer that. Because I think everybody else
Definitely,
just
sir.
disappeared. Who else was here? Let's continue, man. If you have any other question to talk about.
Um, I may, sir, if coming to questions, I may then talk about the field that I am currently working in crypto.
Okay.
Like I'm a college student. Like I started pretty recently in crypto, and we like I and a group of my friends we came up with this idea of okay, like we saw this market of like in the previous bull market, we saw that how lucrative was the market of ICOs and IDOs and how lucrative was it for like for marketing for them and then creating funnels out of that. So what we did as a team was we came up with a pool of KOLs, key opinion leaders. So we gathered a lot of crypto influencers. So we have like contacts with almost 200 of the best crypto influencers, and then we did partnerships with the top launchpads and the centralized exchanges. Like apart from Binance, my company, we have partnerships with Bybit, MEXC, KuCoin, all of these exchanges we have on board. Then we have all the launch pads, we have communitas, we have pools and everything. So now what we have done is we have kind of become the mediator. And what how we facilitate projects is that we review the projects, okay, and on the basis of on the basis of our analysis, we forward it to the launchpad teams or the centralized exchanges teams, and then they on the basis of a trust they make the decisions of okay whether to list the coin or not, and that is where like we take the cut in between. And then when it comes to the marketing part, when it comes to let's say your IDU sale or any ICO sale of a coin is coming up, so we introduce like the projects, any tweets or whatever the project wants. We bring in our 200 KOLs pool in that, and we help them market and then create the hype for it.
Okay,
So this
okay.
is just a basic idea that we came around
No,
it.
that's good. See, that's a great platform for you as a student to get some funds out, right, for your time that you're spending. But watch what you're doing in terms of CEO, ICOs. ICO means you're doing an initial coin offering. An initial coin offering of a coin which is launched by some guy who you don't know. Maybe you know or you don't know. What is he going to do with that coin? It's going to be a little thing for you. May not know. So, and more or less, it's a centralized coin. For straightforward, it is a centralized coin. That's why he is using you as a facilitator to launch his coin.
Exactly, sir.
He may do pump and
Exactly.
dump and lose, make some people lose funds because you facilitated that. You shouldn't fall into trouble in tomorrow because ICOs have been banned. Why ICOs banned? For the same reason, because anybody can just come up, launch their coin, come up with trillions, whatever the number that you want, he can mint those coins and use people
Exactly.
like you who are beginners and then launch their coin and scam some people with that. IEOs is also another thing, which is the initial exchange offering, nothing but a new
Exchange
coin.
offerings, yes.
It's a new coin that they start. That's why I was saying to Sachin, 99.99% of coins, crypto coins out there are all centralized. They're not really decentralized the way Bitcoin is and Bitcoin Cash is and Litecoin is and Doge is. And these are the things that they come up. And because people are all new and governments are not stepping in to help people understand these things, uh, people take advantage of others to bring up their coin and then bring up value from nowhere. What is this coin really going to do? What Bitcoin Cash cannot do? Nothing new. If you have two things of the same, why would you hold two things? If you were really going to be using a coin for your commerce, send and receive value across the world, you can do with one coin, which is Bitcoin Cash. If they bring in another one, And what is this helping with? Only for trading, only for pump and dump. And these are the things that doesn't have a real utility case. So watch what you're doing. I know you're scrutinizing your projects, but 99% of these projects are still centralized and still actually there
Definitely, so
just to make
definitely.
money.
Like there are a few things that we take care of like before promoting it or something. But then marketing was also a field where we thought that okay, it is giving us some kind of security against the threads that are there, like honeypot threads and stuff like that, when it comes to new coins. So for us as a marketing agency, it just comes to the point where okay, if it's just marketing, then we'll just take our cut and we'll do the needful. But definitely when it comes to transferring the coin to any launchpad incubation or stuff like that, we make sure that we are doing all the due diligence required and we are coordinating with the analysis team of the exchanges and the launchpads as well, so that we don't put out any such coin which can, rug pull or just take away people's money.
But have you
And
seen
so,
in the
yeah,
past, 99.9% of these are actually our rug pullers. They have come and they've
yes,
gone. We don't even know their names now, but they were very popular just 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And now that I've been seeing from since 2014, I've been seeing new coins come in and do that. It's just my experience that I've just seen so many come and go. We don't even know. If I tell you those names that used to be there in 14, you have never heard of them. You would never be able to even find them online. But they just came to do that and they left. And that's what has been happening with most cryptocurrencies. Just watch out. And if you're really good at that, I would like to see how well you could do on an exchange. Like I'm not talking about an IEO. I'm just talking about an exchange like my exchange, Insta Crypto. If you could help that, Insta
definitely,
Crypto,
sir. Definitely, sir. Like the my company's name, our company's name is Cryptera. You can search it on any
just
social
leave
media
the
available.
message here.
If possible, I can connect with you on LinkedIn and I can provide you with all the
Yes,
required
yes,
links. I'll send you a connection request, sir.
yeah, do that. And on LinkedIn
And
and
right now we have resumed operations. Yes, sir. We
highly
have
recommend.
resumed operations recently itself, because now we are anticipating that okay, the bull market is going to come maybe next year after the halving. So now we are focusing on building our social medias and our presence, and we are reviving all the connections that we had. Like I am the CMO of the company currently, and the founder and CEO of a company. He's very older to me. His name is Ikshant Ladda. So he's the one who is leading us, and
Okay.
he is someone who has very active connections. Like like we were also the media partners of World Blockchain Summit in Dubai, which was held last year. So and everything. So Ikshant Bhaiya, Ikshant sir, he
Sure.
has a lot of
So
contacts
anyway,
in the field, and
that's
that
me
is
on.
how we have ended up
I
with
don't
this
know if you can
connection.
see that.
Yes, I did send you a connection request just
You
right now.
have,
I've
and
sent
then
it to
I've
you.
not.
You'll see it by my name. Yeah,
Okay, I will approve that.
by the name of Manas, you'll receive it, sir.
Surely,
And so
man.
the second, I'll just like to share it with you and
Yeah,
Willem.
yeah.
The second important funnel for our company is like it's a finance edutech, what I would like to call it, Cryptera. So the edutech part of is that the community which I was talking about. So basically, our team, we have gathered one person who specializes in one domain very nicely. Like for me personally, I'm a very good technical analyst. I've been trading the market since the past 3 years. So I have experience trading crypto, but I mainly trade forex. So what we did is we have come up with a 30-hour comprehensive course, which is our crypto masterclass, our flagship product. And what we have done is we have made 4 modules in that course, and it basically contains fundamentals of crypto. Then we have included sentiment analysis, technical analysis, like how to trade crypto, and the most important module, which I feel is the fourth one, is platform walkthroughs. Like what I feel is, especially when people come to crypto, even though they get the basic knowledge, they don't know how to work around all the platforms. Like itself, Binance itself, when a person opens Binance, there are so many features on Binance and so many things on Binance. No one knows exactly how much can you leverage your things out of Binance. So we have included a platform walkthrough module. It's also in which we have covered MetaMask, Binance, Trust Wallet, and all the major platforms OpenSea, so that even if someone comes into crypto and just watches the platform walkthroughs, they're ready to go from 0 to 100. And we have kept the ticket price of this course of for just 15K, which for India it's 15K, but If outside, if you compare from for the prices that we offer, it's pretty less. Like 15K would be around what, $250 something, 200 to $50. So for outsiders, it's not that much of big of a ticket price, and that's what we are currently working on. Is that we are focusing to tap the international and foreign markets, because we know that okay, there it would be, and there the awareness is more as well. So like
Surely,
it's an
surely.
animated
Actually, the
course as well.
awareness is equal everywhere. It's all about the need. The need is bigger outside. In India, the
Yeah,
need is
exactly.
less. The awareness is same because the awareness in India is of crypto is through trading, like you just said. It's just that you have to watch what you do with Ethereum. Also, with Ethereum, what it is now it is moved from proof of work to proof of staking. What
First
that
day.
means, yeah, it is controlled by a few rich people, and only they are the stakers, and they whoever holds the highest number of Ethereum are the ones who are validating transactions. So there are small changes that's been happening. Follow those things that'll help you in terms of course, helping people to trade better.
I'm sorry, sir. Pardon, I was not able to listen. Yeah, now I can, yeah, listen.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was some
So with
disturbance.
Ethereum, because the technical change in Ethereum, what happened last year is it was proof of work before, it has moved from proof of work to proof of staking. So it is staking means some people who hold a
Vikram,
lot
sir,
of.
I'm sorry. Your voice is a little bit muffled. Can you please
Excuse
check
me.
once?
Uh,
Yeah, now it's fine.
in
Now it's fine.
Ethereum, it is changed from proof of work to proof of staking. You
Yes.
understand that what staking is now, right? Staking means a few people who hold a lot of Ethereum have the say, which is yes or no to send a transaction or not. So Ethereum is completely going away from proof of work. Proof of work is what actually makes a real decentralized currency. So to watch those things and information about those things, if it whatever that latest changes are happening, will help, of course, to promote, will like to educate people better. Maybe those kind of things also you have to keep in mind and look up to see what are the changes that's happening in crypto, in real crypto. I'm talking about the ones which are like the decentralized and proof of work cryptos.
Okay, sir. So your voice was a little bit muffled again. I'm
I
so
don't know
sorry.
what's happening. Maybe it was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
Now,
fine
yeah,
so far.
maybe because the mic is going away, but yeah, now it was fine. Like when you pull the mic up. Yeah, but yeah, I got your point, sir, and
Sure,
I
sure.
completely understood.
Okay, definitely we'll be in touch, and we have Good Farmer is my old friend, so we will let's see you. Let's connect with him. Hi, Good Farmer. How are you, man?
Hey Vikram, it's good to see you again. I'm
Always, man.
just packing things up, getting ready to move back to Canada. So
Get ready
had
to
a
move
shave, so I
back.
don't have a goat here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What's
it's a
up?
long story. My oldest daughter died suddenly of leukemia, so it's
I'm
been
really
a
sorry
bad
about
month.
that.
Yeah,
So you're moving back
we're
to
bringing
Canada,
her
are
back.
you?
Yeah, we're bringing her back to bury her, and then we're probably going to stay there and reset things up from there. We're packing everything up in the Philippines right now.
Oh my God, what really happened? I'm sorry to. You don't
But
have to.
yeah, it's sudden, unexpected acute leukemia. She's 12 years old and started to show some bruising and some signs. So we made an appointment with a hematologist, and 2 weeks later she died.
Okay, okay. Sorry about the dude. And well,
Okay.
anyway, it's one of those things, right? All the best to your
But
trip back, huh? Back to Canada, and let's see if
yeah,
everything
it'll be
works
about
out
a
better.
month until I'm set up there, and then hopefully we can catch up more again.
Sure, sure. Good Farm is one of our friends from Bitcoin Cash community. Been there for a long time. Willem is also a Bitcoin Cash person. We was just talking. Anyway, it was a great meetup. I think you've joined us a little late, but hey, why
Yeah.
don't you give us a couple of minutes of your talk too? Maybe the others would love to hear your experience in the crypto space and Bitcoin Cash space.
Me, you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
I was from Bitcoin 2011. I was part of the big block wars. Was in New York and picked that path. I'm not political. I'm not tribal. I just want to build. So I've been building software and protocols, and I want the block on layer one to scale. So that's what led me to BCH. And I've done some projects here in the Philippines with Beitaka and stuff like that with Jomar. And I've built some stuff, some of the marketing books with Memo.cash originally, um, and now I have a few protocols that we've made that are still on that same stream that do peer-to-peer vetting and I also published the open source SLP swap protocol. Bitcoin Cash doesn't use SLP anymore, but one of the other blockchains does still. So we've gone to version two to solve some of the scaling issues. But yeah, that's the way we've worked with tokens, and we've used tokens to use Bitcoin Cash as a currency in local markets. That's what we do for it. I think I know Willem from somewhere. I really recognize the face, but
You do?
yeah,
Yeah, he's been there
yeah,
so
yeah.
in the space for at least a few years. He said he's been buying into it at least since 2017, 16, or you said, uh, Willem?
Yeah, I started about 2011. Willem just looks familiar. Maybe I used to do some work with Troutner as well, Chris Troutner, and yeah. So we're more on protocols now. And my company is called Digital Technology Group. We
Where's
had a
your
branch
company
in North
registered,
America.
by
We
the
closed
way?
that down.
Do you have
We
like
set
a
up
cup?
in Asia.
Okay.
What's that? Sorry.
Where is your company registered? Where have you registered your company?
We just had closed it down in Canada to register it in Saipan. And then we've also registered a branch in the Philippines, but we're closing both of those down and we're going to re-register in Canada.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, part of it is I'm not tribal and I'm not hiding anything. So Digital Technology Group is more of a umbrella VC fund, kind of like a small version of a tech fund, where we we help support bootstrapping, like first round bootstrapping startups,
Yeah.
including our own. So
I think in the
that's what
space
we're
of
going to get
Bitcoin
back.
Cash that I've seen, most people are bootstrapping themselves because there is no really point of going to funding because once you go to funding, they don't understand Bitcoin Cash and they won't ask you to like keep changing your things. Most Bitcoin Cashers don't want to do that and they just like stay on bootstrapped and protect their interest and
That's the way
their
I
idea.
think we were almost forced to. But to give you an update, if you haven't heard, Jomar's team here, he has a wallet called PayTaca on Bitcoin Cash. They just got a 24.5 million peso VC round. It's their third round of financing. So Jomar's doing really, really good with his Bitcoin Cash solutions. If you haven't seen it, go on Google Play Store and look up Paytaka. It's Paytaka. Paytaka Wallet. They also have a point of sale terminal called Paytaka POS. I have nothing to do with the company. I just, Jomar was one of the original founders of Spice. Spice. So he's done a lot of really good work on CCH for years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, that was a great conversation. Willem, you want to add something to it, and you want to you've been on for a long time, and you heard so much. Your mic may be at mute. We cannot hear you.
Have you shared with your INC coin there? You're still at
No, no,
Bitcoin
I
and
went off
updated
it
everybody?
because my idea of the exchange is bigger than the coin. So I was not, because it was an SLP also, I didn't pursue it any further. Maybe in future, once the cash tokens are popular, then I may come back. But the idea of cryptocurrency exchange is bigger than the tokens. So I'm not interested in that right now.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta go. I just thought I'd pop in and say I'll be gone for about a month, but I'll hopefully catch up with you guys later.
Yeah,
God
my
bless,
man.
huh?
Yeah, take care.
Thanks,
Sorry to
Bobby.
hear about that, but all the best. Oh, we have another person who just says the name is fellow Jitser. Well, he left. Cannot. Okay, no worries. Maybe there is something here where I can help.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I heard you now. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm still okay. No, this has been an incredible meetup. I'm just super a bit surprised. I thought these are you are an OG or you're both highly. You're already. I thought this was kind of like as I said, this is my first meetup that I'm attending. I thought it was just people a little bit going to do things with a bit of crypto, but. Yeah, Vikram, you are tremendously knowledgeable, and
Thank you, my
also
man.
that, and also Manas. I thought in India that crypto was
forbidden or prohibited by law. And that is what some colleagues of mine, I also try to speak with them and try to get them enthusiastic about peer-to-peer value exchange, and then preferably Bitcoin Cash. I am, by the way, Vikram, I'm super happy to see that you're also hardcore in that Bitcoin Cash. I think it is the most beautiful, the most clean, the most soundest form of money that exists. That is really purely reflecting of that original white paper. And also that
Absolutely.
quote that other person just now. My God, this is. I would like to be attending more of these meetups, and yeah.
I would love to have you, my man. This is really great. And I'm glad that you understood, yes, there is a lot of things happening in India too. So you won't believe what's happening in India. In terms of payments, we are very low. I would say payments and settlements with cryptocurrency is big in UK, Australia, in many Western countries, because they still like to use cryptocurrencies as to make payments. Because if you see the standard payment systems in abroad are very hard. Unless you meet them in person, you have to pay in cash. It's easier, but otherwise you have to it's difficult for you to move money around. So with
Mm,
crypto, it's useful there. But in India, because we have UPI is a system that has been set up by India. It's very easy to send and receive money in India. So crypto is never used for payments and settlements, because people
mm,
also think that when I've bought crypto for such a difficulty, I don't want to easily spend it. To spend, I have UPI, so they spend from UPI. The reason crypto is big in India is because people are big on trading, and they want to
mm,
trade. They love exchanges to trade on crypto. So what Indian government did was they said, okay, you love trading, give us 30% of your profits, and they started putting their thing in between. And also with the exchanges, when people buy and sell crypto, they have to directly pay 1% as TDS, tax deducted at source. So say my exchange, I'm running two exchanges now. When somebody buys or sells crypto, I straight away deduct 1%, and every month I'm depositing to the government on the person's behalf whose 1% are deducted. I'm not allowed to
mm,
keep that money. If I Mans use my exchange, I'll deduct 1% of Mans' total value that he exchanged. I'll
mm,
deposit on his name to the government. And when he files his IT return, he can claim it if he's not done so much transaction, or if he's done a
mm,
lot of transaction and he has to pay extra, he can reduce whatever has been paid by me already, and then only pay the difference amount. So these things are very unique and very interesting what the Indian government has done. Mind you, no international country has done that. And the
mm,
more you do these things, more confidence you're building with the people. See, you're paying 1%. I'm paying 1% for every transaction that I do, every exchange that I do, and I'm paying 30% on my profits. I'm already paying 30% on my income, anyways, so I'm not pinched there. So the
mm.
income, when I'm earning X amount and above, I'm paying 30% and more. So I'm paying the same 30% already. So it's not pinching me. But what is helping is the confidence that I'm getting that crypto now is the most safest thing for me. Nobody, no government person can now come and tell me, oh, you using crypto, we're going to put you behind the bars. They cannot, because I'm paying for it. I'm paying tax for it. So that's
Mm.
the confidence they're building in India. And I'm thinking they're doing much better than the West. Because obviously West is controlled by the banks, more by the
Yeah.
banks than the governments. So banks are not allowing these things to happen. In India, because
Yeah.
more is government and less is from the banks, government's trying to bring in an alternative. I don't think banks should have been very happy to do this, but because government is still have more hold, and mind you, I would say from the travel that I've done and living and working in the UK, with my experience, I think India has a better democracy, even though
Mm.
whatever that it is, see, the heights are different. So we still have better democracy. Our financial power is distributed amongst three different groups, which is the finance ministry, RBI, which is the central bank, and the new one that is player is come up from last 20 years is called NPCI. NPCI is the
Mm.
National Payments Council of India, or the Corporation of India. What they're trying to do is they're trying building newer softwares to help people move money around. So the power
Mm.
is distributed. When the power is distributed, it's good for the people. But when power is centralized, it's bad for the people, because then the
Yeah.
centralized system would want to now control everything, and they don't want to give free hand to the people. So those
Yeah.
are the things which I've learned over the period of time. It all helped me only because of Bitcoin. Thanks to Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever it is, the group.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I love it. I love the way that you said that you would like to come in for more meetups and join us. I would be very interested to bring in your experience also in between, because you will be bringing your experience from Europe, and a lot of Indians would want to hear
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. Well, I just attend or I just scheduled to attend the next one as well. But that whole platform, meetup.com, I wasn't familiar. There are sometimes on Twitter, there are these spaces. There are these Bitcoin Cash spaces or crypto spaces that I attend and then and listen to the
Yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
But this is taking it to the next level. And I'm also looking. I am now. I've got my regular work. I've got my job. So I work for a big oil company.
You
That's
told
all
us,
good.
yeah.
But next to that, I've got some entrepreneurial, blood also flowing through my veins. And what I would like to see, where I want to look at is, the adoption of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, by merchants and by just it. I think there is, if we want this thing to, and of course it's going to be a mad success, but it's also important that people start to become familiar with it and start to use it. And that is where I see myself maybe playing a role, doing merchant onboarding and stepping to companies and explaining to them what kind of advantages they can expect when they're, switching over or having it as a parallel stream as part of their operations.
Absolutely. I think you bringing them into that pool will eventually help because they may not find a need right now, but at least by helping them know about it and then get on board with them, they may
Yeah,
find useful sometime. When they know it, then they will not look back, but they will always continue to use it. This happened
yeah.
in the UK too. There are a lot of people in the UK. When I was living there, I was working for the Hilton, right? So I was in the managerial position. And when I was managing, I was trained when I was a duty manager to handle cash economy people. What is this cash economy people? I come from India. When I joined Hilton, it was 2004, so almost 20 years ago. So in that time, India was a big cash economy. So in India, cash is king, was king. Maybe not now, was the king. So in a cash economy, I don't see any problem. But what is this UK government is trying to tell me, or the trainers were trying to tell me, the cash economy people has to be handled differently. And I was trying to wonder what it is. What that means is, so the cash paying people in the UK are called gypsies, jippos, jippolatas, and then name and shame them. The reason they're
Mm,
naming and shaming them is the system has come from the banks, and they're doing that so that these cash economy people come onto the banking ladder. So they should get a bank account. It's not like India where it's difficult to get them. In India, it's difficult to bring people on board. There, it's easy, but people have opted themselves out. So they
mm,
want to name and shame and then make difficulty for them so that they come on the bank. So when I was allowed trained like that, so if they come to the reception at that time, to the hotel reception, and they would not never give a card, and they would give cash upfront as a security, you have to watch that and handle them differently, things like that. So they're doing this so that the cash economy people die down, and everybody should come on the banking ladder. So those
mm.
things also, fell in place when I eventually later understood about the banks because they're like completely taking control of all the people. That's what they want to
Yeah,
do. They eventually
yeah.
want everybody listening to them, like Nigel Farage, this is the minister in the UK whose bank account got shut. I think Mans must have not heard. Mans, I'll tell you this small story. I'll say it quickly because we did this before. This gentleman named
Definitely, sir.
Nigel Farage, he's a minister in the UK. He's a big man, a minister like Nitin Gadkari in India. He's like that in the UK. I will just put a name here in the messages. It's there. You can look it up. And this man has his company running. He has some profits. He has a lot of money, and he wanted to spend his money according to his will. The banks don't like it. They shut his account. And one of them shut his account. He's a minister. He tried to approach the big people of the bank. Nobody gave him any leeway, and nobody helped him. He tried to approach other banks to continue his business. No one is helping him. So he had to shut his company down. Can you believe a man like that doesn't have support from his banks, from his own country? Who else can he support? Who else going to support him? So this is the kind of control that the banks have. And you know what the information that they've given him? They said some corporate or commercial decision that we have to take you off because you hold less than 1 million pounds. What a joke. So that means if you hold more than 1 million pounds, you can do whatever. And if you have less than 1 million pounds, you can't do what they want you to. Whatever. That's a silly thing that they've said, but that's what the banks are
Mm,
doing in the UK.
mm.
Just to, sorry to interrupt, sir, but the same example can be also said like when the Russia-Ukraine war situation started, and the SWIFT banking system decided to, block Russia's USD deposits. So wasn't the same thing brought up again that, okay, now let's say SWIFT has controlled Russian deposits, so it can anytime control any other country's deposits, and that's when I believe that this all the talk had started about that, okay, let's shift to something which is much more decentralized, and then countries were talking about, okay, let's start making like our own reserves and our own currencies and everything. So I believe this is something which is also related to, somehow signaling to that decentralization is better
Yeah,
because
yeah. You said that. That's true. That's very true. I think the very first sanction that Russia got in 2014 was a SWIFT sanction, a SWIFT which settles value between their country and other countries' banks. A SWIFT system was stopped. You don't need SWIFT system when you're on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin Cash. SWIFT system is out of the window. Like you don't want that. And you won't believe in Bitcoin magazine, this was in back in 2013, recorded transactions between Iran and Russia doing transactions in Bitcoin. Well, of course, there was no Bitcoin Cash then; it was only Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin magazine, it's still famous even today. Bitcoin magazine is out there.
yeah,
They recorded
when
this
the news
transaction that
alert.
happened between Iran and Russia. See, what happens with between two countries is it's the companies who have to now believe that crypto is good for us and we should use it. Iran was already sanctioned by then, so Iran could not send from that company and that bank account. Because any international transfer has to go through checking clearinghouse of New York, and they wouldn't allow those funds to go through. So they used Bitcoin, and Bitcoin magazine recorded that. So
Wow.
it's clearly the whole big government has to use means then everybody has to understand. Before only one company from each country understood and they settled between themselves just to be happy, right? Like, they don't want to go through any of the hassle. But yes,
So
that's the beauty.
if you would allow, can I throw in a question if you have time,
Yes,
if
yes,
it's
go on.
possible? Like, so recently we have seen this development in India where we have the digital rupee being introduced
Yes.
finally, and all the private banks, they have made their own applications of the digital rupee, and
Yes.
they have enabled transactions to be made through the digital rupee. But I don't understand the point, as in where if something like UPI is still there, so why is the reason of introducing, like, what is the reason behind introducing digital rupee right now and providing all the infrastructure and everything right now, but not working on the awareness for the same and not educating people about the same? Because I don't see any similar campaigns or awareness programs or marketing behind that. But although all the infrastructure is ready and being put out in front of the people when it comes to CBDC payments. So a little bit insight on that, sir.
We did speak about that in the beginning. I know you missed that out
Okay,
because the
yeah, I'm
point is
sorry, I
about
missed that out.
crypto with
Sorry about that, sir.
CBDC slash fiat. Fiat and CBDC is the same. It's a bond from the country, from the government. Government introduced money. So there is a small difference between UPI and CBDC. What happens with UPI is for a UPI to work, you have to have a bank account. So your bank and other bank is communicated in between through UPI. With CBDC, you don't need a bank account. That's the beauty of it. One of the CBDC advantages is that they can go to the remote parts of India where there is penetration of internet and phones. Because there is penetration of internet and phones, now CBDC can be held on their phones and people can hold their account on their phone and their value on their phone. And I've already seen it and used and tested it. We were just talking about it the other day in a business world conference. So CBDCs are very clearly, very nicely done. The apps are available if you want to test it out. Look it up online on Play Stores also. So the apps will hold your value of your notes the same way as how you have currency
Yeah,
notes.
I'm using it, sir. I'm using it. I'm aware
Ah,
of it.
you know it. So that
Just,
your
yeah.
2,000 rupees is also there. But the funny part is when you send 2,000, you only get four five
Yeah,
hundreds because 2,000
and
has
even
been
50
discontinued.
paisa is there,
Yes,
surprisingly.
yes. So
50
what
paisa
that
coin is there.
is that is directly now controlled by RBI. Now, there are no
Okay.
banks in between. That's the way they're reducing the power of the bank. Now, in a CBDC, RBI takes control of the whole inventory of the CBDCs. So, I will send money
Okay.
to you. If you say the cash economy, when we had cash economy before UPI, RBI was directly in control of that cash. They printed it, we held it, we would pay other person and they would pay us. It would be completely anonymous. Here, it is not completely anonymous. It's the whole transaction is recorded. I will be sending my 5 rupee note from my phone to your phone. The beauty is that I don't have to meet you in person. When I meet you in
Okay.
person is when I can change cash. But with CBDC, I don't have to meet you in person. So any villager anywhere in India can now transact with someone in Delhi for metropolitan, and he can do business with him. And paying money and receiving money is the biggest deal in in commerce. So this is facilitated through CBDC much more better. So now he can send the money. Maybe tomorrow CBDC can come up with its own escrow system in between, where the person sends money to the escrow on CBDC and CBDC will hold it. RBI will be holding it on behalf of him on a time locked period, and the other person has to send the goods. So when they sends the goods, the other
That would
person
be
gets
great.
the
Yes,
information
sir.
saying that it's locked now. So other person sends
Mm-hmm.
the goods. The villager will receive the goods, and as soon as he receives, he says, "I'm happy with the goods." Then the CBDC will automatically release the funds to the owner. So these are all upgrades will come in future. But at the base level, CBDC is much better now. The cash economy has become online. That's like advantage of it,
But so
and
like
banks are not
for
understanding.
even getting CBDCs, we do need a bank account, right? Because
No,
without a
you don't
bank account,
need. You
we.
don't need it.
But right now, purchasing any CBDC is done through the bank apps, which like
Yes,
digital
that's
rupee
because
bank
we're still
apps,
in a
and we have
testing
to link
period.
a bank account. We have to link a bank account to get those CBDCs.
Yeah, it's
Like
only in the
that's the
testing
process I had
period.
to do.
It's there in the testing period now, but eventually that is what
Okay.
the idea is. So
Acha,
that
acha, the
even
future plans is that.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
understood, sir. Understood,
So even
understood.
when foreigners come in today, when Willem comes in into India, how does he now
Hmm.
communicate with everybody? When we are doing all UPI, he will find it very
Hmm.
hard. And I know
Hmm.
most of the foreigners here in Goa, they cannot really pay with UPI because they don't have a bank
Hmm.
account. They cannot get UPI. So what happens with CBDC is now when they come in, they don't have to get their bank account. They can change with dollars to CBDC, and the
Hmm.
CBDC will start working for them in any any UPI scanners. So that's the beauty. That's
That is great, sir.
increasing commerce. Believe me, the more easier you make payments and settlements around for people, the commerce increases and the development of that country happens. That is the key that West has now, taken a back step on it because they have developed so much that they are so much in control that they have forgotten that they have to give these facilities to the people. I'm talking about UK because I lived there and I experienced it. Uh, I don't know if it has changed any better now. I hope it does. Okay. It was a very good, very fun conversation, man. I loved it. The questions helped me. Questions is what uh, brings the insides out of me because only then I'd remember those points. I've gone through all of that, but when somebody asks a question is when I'll remember to actually answer those. But thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Incredibly
Will.
valuable. And these meetups happen every month, is
Yes,
it?
every
Are
month.
there?
It's the
Okay,
fourth
okay,
Friday of every month.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I've been doing it too long, so I don't want to miss it. It's you trust me. People think that they're learning a lot from me. Equally, I learn from it.
Now, fantastic. Then I will happily see you join the next one, and I'm also going to link with you if that's okay on LinkedIn,
Happily, yes.
Vikram
I'll
and
be looking
Manas.
forward to it.
I don't know what your
Yes,
full name is, but
Willem.
I would love to.
Yeah, Willem. If you could just drop your LinkedIn link in the chat if possible,
Let me
or
That's
let me
me,
do
Vikram
that.
Nikam.
I'll just send you my name as well in the chat, so you can just directly search it. You will find me on LinkedIn. My full name.
Manas Jati, Jati.
Manas
Yes, sir.
Jetty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to link immediately. Hey, thanks so much. Super, super, super interesting. Super cool. And hopefully speak soon. And have a
Definitely.
great
Thank you very much, guys.
weekend.
Thank you so much.
Bye
Thank you so
bye.
Okay.
much, Vikram sir. Thank you so much, Willem.
Thank
It
you.
was great
Thank you.
meeting you guys. Have a great
Great
day.
meeting.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.